The Federal Reserve is considering a digital dollar. The implications for privacy and freedom are frightening. Central banks around the world are examining whether they should create digital currencies. China is gradually enrolling one already. India is moving ahead in this front. The Federal Reserve is on the bandwagon here, where experiments and studies are already underway. These moves to what is dubbed a central bank digital currency, CBDC, may sound like making sure financial institutions are keeping up to date and ensuring currency stability amid cryptos that are crashing in value, along with the sensational multi-billion-dollar collapse of crypto exchange FTX. Now, advocates say CBDCs will help central banks better fight inflation because they'll have more direct control over the money supply, that it will sharply speed up transaction payments between buyers and sellers in the marketplace, where settlements, most particularly if they cross borders, can take days before a payment clears and you can access your money. It will also help fight money laundering and keep rogue nations from evading sanctions. But central bank digital money is ominous. The downside of governments being able to track digitally every single product or service you buy and sell is chilling. This is where China is headed. India has been trying to reassure skeptics by declaring that transactions would stay, quote, largely anonymous, end quote. But government bureaucracies won't be able to resist the temptation. They'll always have excuses like fighting crime or combating tax cheating. CBDCs would give officials a powerful tool of control and manipulation. It would be an irresistible drug for central banks trying to direct the economy. If they think the economy is overheating, they could freeze a certain percentage of your cash. Or if these poobahs decide that things are too slow, they could punish people who, they conclude, are saving too much. Spend it or lose it, they could decree. If you have undesirable political views, you might not be able to access your money, since traditional cash would be outlawed and your digital cash would be in a government-approved digital wallet. Digital cash would even allow governments to fine-tune monetary policy with individualized interest rates. Then there's the all-too-real challenge of security. Digital cash systems would be a hacker's delight. The treasure trove of data governments would have on every aspect of your life would be breached. As for speeding up payments, that can be achieved with improved electronic transfers. The Federal Reserve already has an experiment with that underway called FedNow. Congress should immediately hold hearings on the subject of central bank digital cash and ban the Fed from creating a digital dollar. Government digital cash is a formula for tyranny.
This is where we are headed if we don't change course.
Yeah, I'm concerned about all that, and I'm concerned about the lack of understanding that people have about the implementation of things like a digital currency that is centralized, that's controlled by the government.
Right.
That scares the shit out of me.
Absolutely.
Because that's what and Maxine Waters, who has been promoting this, said that we need this to compete with China, which is so crazy.
Yeah.
It's like saying we need communism to compete with communism.
Yeah, exactly.
Because that's what it is.
Yeah.
If you want to compete with communists, you have to be a communist. Like what?
Yeah.
Like digital currency that's centralized by the state is terrifying because they'll connect it to a social credit score system.
Yeah.
If they connect it to a social credit score system, Tulsi Gabbard, I don't like what you said on the Joe Rogan Experience.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to go and eliminate your ability to fly.
Right.
You can't fly. You can't travel. You can't buy gas anymore.
Yep.
Which is what they do in China.
It's all within the realm of possibility. And you look at that and what is the recent thing of, I think Elizabeth Warren was pushing for credit card companies to start tracking people who buy ammunition and firearms and report
Visa
that to the government.
Done this. Visa is going to change the way they categorize gun sales. So they'll put gun sales in a different realm of of regular sales, which is to let people know, like, hey, we're watching you.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And not just because like, oh, well, I'm just curious. No.
No.
There's a regulatory follow-up action to that violation of privacy.
CBDC stands for Central Bank Digital Currency. It is a currency issued directly by the central banks. It can be done on a wholesale basis, which is to essentially allow the commercial banks to issue it on a retail basis and do the management of it on retail, and then relate back to the central bank, which will be a wholesaler, or it can be done directly by the central bank doing directly a retail CBDC. The challenge with CBDC is it gives the central bankers complete control and the ability to program your money. What it does is it gives them the ability to say what you can use your money for, where you can use your money. It's called programmable money. Some people call it smart contracts. I call it very stupid contracts. But it gives you the ability to issue programmable money and do complete surveillance and control of where and how people use their money. Now, I say that CBDCs are quite dangerous, and they are. However, it's very important to understand that this kind of complete control comes about not through CBDCs, but having an all-digital monetary system. So what we want to stop is an all-digital monetary system because it is possible to do the equivalent of CBDCs on a private basis. So I can use merchant codes with your bank account and your credit card. I can kick you off your online payment systems if I don't like what you're saying on social media. There are many different ways if we go to an all-digital financial system. We have digitized throughout our economy, so our homes are full of digitized equipment that can be identified and surveilled. Our cars are more and more electric. They can be stopped remotely. The thing to understand is if we go to an all-digital transaction system, financial transaction system, with a digital ID, so I can tell you're you and I'm me with great precision, then suddenly all those different digitized items and equipments and systems snap into one complete control grid. And the key to that snapping into the control grid is the digital ID and the all-digital monetary system. Now, let me tell you what that looks like, because we don't have a financial problem. We have a governance problem. If you do it in a system where a secret governance system that is non-transparent and outside of your control, if that gives them the power to basically turn on and shut off your transactions, we're in a coup d'etat world. By creating an all-digital transaction system with a digitized economy and a digital ID, suddenly the central bankers now control fiscal policy. They can determine where you go, when you go. So let's go back to the pandemic. During the pandemic, if the lockdown said you can't go more than a mile from your home and you can only go that on Tuesday and Thursday, in an all-digitized economy with satellite flying overhead, they can literally track you, and if you don't do what they say, they can turn off your money. Now, what this means is you not only have usurping of the people's representatives, but you have a usurping of the state powers. So under the Constitution, the powers not delegated to the federal government are reserved to the states. But now the central bankers asserting line of fiscal policy, making the rules and enforcing them centrally, can literally control healthcare or other powers reserved to the states, and by the ability to literally control your financial transactions. The way to make that transition is just say total control. If you don't eat cricket flour and synthetic meat made in a lab, we'll turn off your money. Use cash, encourage the local businesses to use cash, encourage your local banks to support cash. You can always use cash, and you can use checks. Keep the cash and check systems going.
You've pledged to block a potential central bank digital currency. Is that about surveillance?
It's very dangerous. It's very dangerous. One day you don't have any money in your account. It can be a very dangerous thing.
Here to react is the host of the Monica Crowley podcast, our friend, Monica Crowley. Monica, so this past week, my daughter flew to Bangkok with her husband, and they flew China Air. And when they were boarding, they said, those who paid with CBDC, central digital bank currency, get to board first. The kind of privileges you'd get if you were first class or if you had little children. There is a push going on. I think that's coming here. Help our viewers understand why this push towards CBDC that we see from the Democrat Party, that we see from the World Economic Forum, and that Donald Trump is warning about is so dangerous.
Yeah, good morning, Rachel. This is exceedingly dangerous because central bank digital currencies are only about power and control for any government that is implementing them, like the Chinese government, because it is a critical cornerstone to moving any society to a social credit score kind of system, right? So exactly what you're describing with your daughter is what the left and transnational organizations like the World Economic Forum want here. A central bank digital currency is essentially replacing hard assets like cash and cash-based assets with a digital currency that would be centralized in, say, the Federal Reserve. So ultimately, they want to get rid of all banks of all sizes, from JP Morgan Chase to your local community bank, and replace it with the Federal Reserve. Why? Because all of your assets will no longer be a tangible asset in your wallet, like a $10 bill. Instead, your assets will be a line of software and therefore open to be taxed, drained, garnished, or entirely wiped out by the government or any controlling authority. So again, your privacy will be completely eliminated along with your financial freedom.
Yeah, I mean, it's so scary. And Monica, this isn't like some fantasy. This is already happening in China. And as you mentioned, the WEF and other organizations are pushing us toward this. Give our viewers an example of how their freedom could be curtailed through this now not this cashless society. So if you do what, they can do what?
Yeah, exactly. So again, this is about power and control only. And if the government has control over your assets, they have control over you.
That's
and
right.
it gets back to the social credit score system. So let's say a government, the U.S. government, decides that you have overstepped your carbon emissions on any given month. Well, if we have a fully digitized financial system, then the government then has the right, or will have the right, to go into your savings account, your bank account, and either tax you or prevent you from buying gas for the rest of the month for your car, or airline tickets to fly anywhere in the country or in the world, or lock you out of your account completely. Again, this is a totalitarian system.